Literary genres. Genre means type. How many types of fiction can you name? Grab a pen and see how many literary genres you can think of in 30 seconds. Did you think of any of these genres? So today we're going to be exploring thriller, horror, historical fiction, romantic fiction, adventure, gothic horror, science fiction, fairy tales and fantasy. And while we'll be thinking of these as distinct categories, in real life when we are reading literary fiction, you'll find that many of these can cross over and work with one another. So a thriller, we would expect excitement, surprise, and high stakes. Types of thriller include psychological thriller, action thrillers, and crime thrillers. And mostly the central theme will be some kind of unanswered question or some kind of unanswered crime. Who did it? And we will always expect some plot twists. The horror genre can include gore, so really, horrific and graphic horror. There's also the monster horror, and there's paranormal horror, so thinking about supernatural. And all through horror genre, we have fear and anxiety at a high level. Historical fiction is fiction that is set in a real place and a real time, a time that people will recognise in history. And possibly it will even include some characters, possibly famous characters, and events based on reality. But there will also be fictionalised and imagined elements to that, and sometimes completely imaginary characters. Romantic fiction includes romantic love and relationships. Protagonists meet, fall in love, complications occur to create problems, but usually we have a happy ending that involves them being together. The adventure genre is where a protagonist goes on some sort of personal journey or they go on a geographical journey. So they travel around the world. Often they have a quest and they have to overcome obstacles to achieve their quest. A gothic horror is a type of horror, and there's also gothic romance, and again, they can be separate or they can be together. But a gothic horror is dark, mysterious, and very strange and spooky, often involving very bleak settings where it's hard for the protagonist to escape. Evil villains. Often we have settings such as creepy, large houses. And modern day gothic horrors might include sort of American apartment blocks. Science fiction. Well, science fiction is about advanced science or technology. It might predict the future, what would happen if. For example, then you might include time travel, interdimensional travel, and this also now includes more modern science fiction genres like the apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic genre and dystopian genre. So apocalyptic, the foretelling of the end of the world, and dystopian, living in a society where the rules are very, very unfair. Fairy tales, traditional narrative, told in chronological order. A problem occurs after we're introduced to the characters in the background, leading to rising action, leading towards the climax, and so on. Usually, fairy tales involve some kind of magic. There's usually a task for the main character or an obstacle for them to overcome, but finally, usually ending in a happy ending. The fantasy genre tends to include very strange settings, so we're thinking of other worlds. It usually would include supernatural beings. maybe mythical beings. There's often a quest and bravery and heroism from the main character. Ghost stories involve haunting, supernatural, and often the settings are quite dark and quite old places. So let's have a think about whether you can spot the genre. Can you spot the genre? We're going to look at some different images that have different features of particular genres. See whether or not you can spot the genre, and then we'll go through the answers and see if you were right. What genre is this? Think about the clues here. So in this particular one, we've got a magical creature. We've got some sort of fairy. There looks like there might be somebody like a prince or a princess, and a castle. What genre would this be? And that would be a fairy tale. Traditional narrative, told in order, usually involving magic, tasks and obstacles, and some sort of happy ending. What genre is this? So look at your clues again. Here we've got a character on a journey. The world is mythical, but there is a definite quest. And this was the adventure genre. The protagonist going on some kind of personal or geographical journey with a quest to achieve a mission and overcoming obstacles as they go. What genre is this? What do we have? We've got a magical wand, a sword, we've got people going out on some kind of adventure. It looks like there's armour, possibly a knight, and there's some kind of sense of the medieval here. There's a sense of imagining sort of medieval times and that kind of heroism and quest. So that was the fantasy genre. Strange settings, other worlds, supernatural beings, a quest, heroism, and often, very much often, these also look at medieval times. So things like armour and swords and magic and shields are quite common. Ooh, what about this one? What are the features we have here of which genre? And you're right, that would be horror. Might be gore, monsters, the paranormal, fear and anxiety are high. Okay, so we have some quite strong clues here. What have we got? We've got maybe important figures from history. We've got a meal setting here that looks like something from the past. Okay, so we're thinking there about historical fiction, a real place in time, something people will recognise, possibly characters and events even based on reality, and then fictionalised. Okay, what have we got here? Okay, we've got a detective of some sort. Looks like somebody, I don't know, who might have been involved in a crime, possibly. There is the sense of looking for clues. Okay, so there we have a thriller, excitement and suspense, stakes are high, unanswered questions and plot twists. Okay, the clues are definitely in the picture here. What have we got? Yeah, you've got romantic fiction. People fall in love We've got relationships, protagonists meet, complications create the problem and the rising action, but usually we'd expect a happy ending involving them being together. Ooh, what do we have here? I'm not going to give you long for this one. Spooky setting, supernatural. Yeah, we've got a ghost story. So, supernatural hauntings and mystery, often in creepy settings such as attics, old houses, and dark places. Right, what have we got next? What genre is represented here? So, what have we got? We've got something from outer space, strange science experiments. We've got robots. Oh, we've got AI, very modern. We've got time being important, possibly, and other worlds, maybe aliens and alien planets. What genre are we thinking of here? Yeah, we've got science fiction, advanced science or technology, looking at time, interdimensional travel, space travel, and again, including possibly the apocalyptic or dystopian genres as well now. What's next? Oh, wow, what do we have here? We have some sort of Gothic looking architecture, don't we? We've got Gothic looking arched window. We've got some sort of spooky, large old buildings. We've got ooh, a bird like a crow, often featured in this genre. Okay. Yeah, Gothic horror. So dark, mysterious, and strange. They often involve bleak settings and evil villains, often set in creepy houses or modern day apartment blocks. Very common, sort of Victorian style and genre as well. And you had some of that Victorian looking furniture in there, didn't you? Okay, well done. Let's now have a think about some examples of writing. So, if you're not interested, as with always, you can skip parts of the video. We're going to look at some examples of writing, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to be inspired by some images and have a go yourself. So the idea is always is to pause the video where it's useful to really study. So we're going to actually read an extract from some Gothic horror together now, and then we'll go on and read some other types of text from different genres and give you the opportunity to do some writing. This is an extract from The Turn of the Screw by Henry James in 1898, and this would come under the genre of Gothic horror. So this extract is not from the opening. It's in the middle of the story being told. You've seen him nowhere but on the tower, and on this spot just now. Mrs. Grose looked round again. What was he doing on the tower? Only standing there and looking at me. She thought a minute. Was he a gentleman? I found I had no need to think. No. She gazed in deep wonder. No. Then nobody about the place? Nobody from the village? Nobody. I didn't tell you, but I made sure. She breathed a vague relief. This was oddly much to the good. It only went indeed a little way. But if he isn't a gentleman, what is he? He's a horror. A horror? He's... God help me if I know what he is. Can you have a go at writing in this genre? And if you want to have a go at this, and I really recommend that you do, then you could be inspired by the image on the next page, pause the video, and you can have a go. Can you write in this genre? We're going to explore another genre now. We're going to be looking at science fiction. So here's an extract from A Journey in Other Worlds by John Jacob Astor. Its 5 moons appeared like silver shields against the black sky. But now things were looking more terrestrial, and they began to feel at home. Bearwarden put down his notebook, and Eyrault returned a photograph to his pocket, while all three gazed at their new abode. Beneath them was a vast continent, variegated by chains of lakes and rivers stretching away in all directions. So we can see we've got another world here. They're on another world, they're looking at another planet. Can you do science fiction? And again, that could include planets or time travel. Let's be inspired by the images here. Pause the video and have a go. Can you write in this genre? So we're going to have a look at one more genre here. This is from the adventure genre, and we're looking at an extract from Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. So again, it's from the opening of the story, but not right at the very beginning. This is sort of right inwards after the sort of initial introduction and setting and establishing of the character. I'm going to take you straight into some speech. A true Englishman doesn't joke when he's talking about a thing so serious as a wager, replied Phileas Fogg solemnly. I will bet £20,000 against anyone who wishes that I will make the tour of the world in 80 days or less, in 1924 hours. Sorry, in 1920 hours, or 115,200 minutes. Do you accept? We accept, replied Messrs. Stewart, Valentin, Sullivan, Flanagan, and Ralph, after consulting with each other. Good, said Mr. Fogg. The train leaves for Dover at 9:15. I will take it. This very evening? Asked Stewart. This very evening, returned Phileas Fogg. Now, would you like to have a go at writing some adventure? Let's have a look. Pause the video, choose what you want to zoom in on, and be inspired. What can you write? And I'd give yourself at least 45 minutes to have a really good go at this. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, what about writing in a different sort of genre? Can you be inspired by these images? Pause the video and have a go. Now you can come back to this video time and time again. It's not intended that you're going to do all of these pieces of writing at once. The idea is to revisit this, and when you can, sit down and spend a good chunk of time having a go at some creative writing. It's great to practice writing in different genres. It just expands our skill set. I wonder what genre your favourite film or book is written in. Okay, keep reading and writing.